Hey everyone, Chen here bringing you guys another video. Today we are finally going to implement an auction itemization guide. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me. Now this isn't going to be in depth all the itemization you can build. This is just going to be kind of like a snapshot if you want to think about it. Because the reason why I haven't done a full itemization guide with all the auction itemization that you could build is because quite frankly there are so many builds, right? And items are continuously changing. Bear in mind they just introduced basically the new items, so it feels. So that's why I haven't done one of those videos yet. However, this video covers my top 3 current builds of this current patch, right? So these are the top 3 builds that works best for me. Now I do want to preface, if they don't work for you, you don't need to go this build. There are other builds. For example, on hit is not mentioned in this video for a good reason. I personally hate on hit right now. I think it's the most suboptimal way to play Akshan. So these 3 builds are what works best for me and what I run, right? So if you're still an on hit enjoyer, go for on hit, right? I'm not saying that on hit's like a worse way of playing. This is simply my opinion, my video of the top 3 Akshan itemization guide. So without much rambling, let's go and start. Now it's going to be very similar to the format I did last season of this video. Basically, I've made videos about all of these itemizations, and I'm just going to play like a specific clip of the said build. So starting off in no particular order, by the way, it's going to be Bruiser Sean. Now I did optimize this build, so the build that I showcased in this current video is actually kind of outdated. The build path goes as follows. You want to go Kraken, Blade of the Ruined King, Stridebreaker, into Terminus, into Jack Show. That is generally your build. It is very cut and dry, so you can't really slot in situational items, but if you feel like you don't like Terminus or if you feel like you don't like Jack Show, you can definitely go something else, but the main core is Kraken, Borg, Stridebreaker. There was a variation of this build last season with the old Stridebreaker, but now that Stridebreaker is basically back to what it used to be, 450 HP, slows, also gives you movement speed, and the kiting potential. This build is one to watch out for, so let's take a look at this clip. So, I mean, as you can see right now, I am literally just, I have enough damage, and bear in mind, once again, I did not optimize this build as of this recording, so I don't even have Bork. This is literally Kraken and Terminus and Stridebreaker, all allowing me to literally right-click a Callista, which, unironically, if you go, like, on hit, you would do practically the same amount of damage, but you wouldn't be as durable, so you can see how durable I am just right-clicking him to death. And then this clip isn't finished. You can see the damage there. I'm still extremely healthy. Basically full HP if I went any sort of other build without HP. And we can jump in safely. Still basically full HP. If you're going any squishy builds, 1700 HP is basically full HP if you're going any squishy build. And as you can see right there, you are insanely tanky. Unfortunately, I don't have the extended GUI here to see the, armor and MR, but 3.5k HP, and as you can assume, probably 200 armor, something like that. Something absolutely absurd with this build. You are a menace with this build. It curves really well, it spikes really well because you're going Kraken into Bork, into the Stridebreaker. You're basically hitting that HP threshold at exactly when you need to hit it, which, in my opinion, makes this build really, really good. Moving on to the next build. Now, this video was kind of clickbait, I'm going to be honest. Most broken auction build in this patch. I thought it'd be like this because this was very similar to the Voltaic Stormrazor RFC build. It's just optimized with Kraken Voltaic RFC, but it turns out there are actually better itemizations in this patch, so this isn't fully the best title for this build, but it still is a very good and consistent build. Kraken Voltaic RFC. I'm going to play this clip and then I'll explain how it works. I don't know if we kill Aphelios here. I think we don't, actually. I think I just run it down. If we do, actually. Okay, well, it was close, but the premise of this build, let me just explain it really quickly. Like, this isn't the most insane clip to showcase this build, but it's a pretty basic build, I'm gonna be honest. The main premise of this build, though, is it basically combines the good parts of on-hit and it combines the good part of poke. You are basically doing both, but you're not the greatest at doing either, if that makes sense. So why is this build good? Well, how it spikes is really good. You're spiking really hard with Kraken, arguably the strongest first item power spike. You're spiking really hard with Voltaic, which is a very, very strong second item power spike, and then RFC. So you spike really hard first and second item, basically to get a snowball, get a lead, and then RFC allows you to enable that spike and continue pushing forward, because if you went something like Kraken Voltaic into another item that's just full damage, you're forced to go in to do damage, and you're going to find yourself, dying a couple times and then losing that sort of snowball effect. But how this build works, you go Kraken, Voltaic, RFC, you spike upwards, and then you build situational idols. Generally, IE is the best situational item afterwards, but if they do have a lot of armor, in this game, for example, I went LDR, both works, and yeah, one of the benefits of this build is basically how it spikes. It spikes really well at key points in the game, and it basically transitions, a good early game into a decent mid game, right? Because if you don't have RFC in your build mid to late game, you are going to struggle into a lot of comps that you have to go in, but you're going to end up dying. But RFC actually allows you to play these situations out. And lastly, the build I invented. Now, this build is a bit spicy, so bear with me. Let me just explain the build really quickly. Static Shib, IE, RFC. If this looks familiar, it's because it is. It is my old variation of my poke build, Stormazer, IE, RFC. How does this build work, though? And why does it work? Well, Static Shiv actually got a massive buff that made it cost 2,700 instead of 3,000. That is an insane buff. You are getting this item basically 6 to 8 minutes every single game. And why is that good? Well, the damage is comparable to old Stormazer. Obviously, you're missing damage, but you can't forget about just the one-shot potential. Now, I can show you this clip, but it's not going to fully highlight this build. If you want to fully highlight this build, I recommend watching the video if you haven't already, or just watching me on stream, because I will play this build a lot. This build is insanely good into all squishies or into comps that you cannot engage on, right? So we'll just play this clip. You can see that was just simply auto-auto on the support. She lost 3/4 her HP, and she's dead, right? So now this clip kind of prolongs. There's not too much here. If I played it better, I'm pretty sure I could kill Yon if I landed my Q. But auto-auto on Yon. Now, he did proc his shield bow, but that basically one-shot him again. We jump in here. Yon's dead. Irelia's dead. End up whiffing my E, but actually got a fucking raid during this video. But that is basically the build. As you can see, you're not lacking damage. A lot of people said, Chen, if you build like this, aren't you going to lack damage? You're not lacking damage. Because why? Static Shiv allows you to cheat so much tempo. Because you're hard shoving the wave, you're basically guaranteeing yourself to have 8 to 10 CS per minute. If you play this build correctly, you are one-shotting the wave, you are roaming, you are getting kills, you are getting a lead. So there you guys have it. That is the 3 builds. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Once again, you don't have to go these builds. These are just my personal favorite builds currently that I've been running. If you prefer on-hit, go ahead and do on-hit. I just personally cannot be bothered with on-hit. I think it's literally the worst Akshan build that's viable right now. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Chen out.